Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh in Studio North, joined by John Ashbrook, one of the fellows of the Ruthless Podcast program. Hello, John. How are you?
Hello, Hugh. I'm doing quite well. Nice to see you today.
I listened to your new episode today, and I got to say, your journo buddies, and they are legion. They can't be too happy with you. You drag them. You put them behind the car, and you just drag them everywhere.
I don't think their audience is too happy with them after the way they covered up Joe Biden's slide into dementia last year. And the more you go back and look at the coverage from last summer and last spring, I mean, the more you're just like, man, they really went that far to try to cover up everything that we all saw with our own eyes. And so I think this is some well-deserved roasting.
It's a very amusing episode. I recommend it to everyone. But I wish you would introduce Nicole Wallace every time you do. Nicole Wallace, who personally hand-selected Sarah Palin for the 2008 presidential campaign ticket and accompanied her on the plane, just so we set the record straight. John, I want to ask you about the Biden family, something that you're often on your program, Mary Catherine Ham, brought to my attention. Do you think the Biden family needs the money? Do you think that's why they're trying to rehab him on The View and that terrible speech that he gave and books that he's not writing? Do you think they need the bucks?
Well, you know, I don't know how they could need more money. I mean, it sure seemed like they made an awful lot when he was vice president and then president. But I mean, maybe just a lot of money isn't enough for some people. I really do think there's something to the fact that there's a Biden Inc. that undergirded his entire administration that didn't get reported on as much as it probably should have. But I think that's a big motivating factor for why they're putting him out there right now. Like, you know, you've talked extensively about that View appearance he did with Joe Biden. It was disastrous for the guy's reputation. And it just sort of like reminded everybody how bad a shape he's actually in. I mean, he was president of the United States this calendar year.
I think I'm reluctant to tell you guys, since you're the big bang of conservative new media, I'm reluctant to give you advice, but I think you all ought to adopt the persona of Joe Biden for one episode and shout at each other at full volume for the entire hour. Just shout over each other and talk faster. But here's my question. This is a political question. I believe if you dug deep, if you called in Jim Biden and Dr. Jill Biden and Hunter Biden and the grandkids, and you asked them about the Foreign Agents Registration Act and the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act and where was the money coming from, they're all pardoned. But you can perjure yourself, right? False Statements Act. Would you pursue that as a political matter, or would you have James Comer pursue it in oversight, or would you just let it go because everybody knows?
Well, everybody does know, but I do think there are facets to the way that Biden Inc. operated that would be interesting for Congress to investigate and discover so that they can make rules to prevent something like that from happening again. I mean, you know, maybe it's as simple as getting to the bottom of the money that changed hands for Hunter's paintings or something like that. You know, just little details of ways that the Biden family got around the rules would be great to know so that they can change the rules and prevent it from happening.
Have you had any high-end discussions on how to prevent a 25th Amendment fail? That was a fail. We were without a president effectively for at least a half a year, probably two, and no one said anything. How do we prevent that from happening?
Right. I mean, all of these things that were huge problems last year, and quite frankly, throughout his entire presidency. I mean, the cover-up of Biden's aging and everything that the staff did, it's a gigantic scandal. And of course, the mainstream media was complicit in that. So they're doing their best to try to cover their tracks for what they did. They're not doing their best to try to prevent something like that from happening again. You can't prevent something like that from happening without going back and first acknowledging that it was a problem and acknowledging the magnitude of what took place to try to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. Of course, everyone could see as plain as the nose on their face that Joe Biden was falling apart. But what Democrats did, it hurt their party, it hurt their brand, the journalists, it hurt their brand, but it also really hurt our country. It turned us into a laughingstock and weakened us to a point where not only were our foreign adversaries taking advantage of us in ways that we may not yet know, but there were people inside the Biden administration who were taking advantage of essentially an invalid to get things done.
Yeah, I would love to see
do.
campouts outside of Steve Richetti's house, Mike Donnellan's house. I think Ron Klain got out because he saw what was happening. I'd leave Ron Klain alone. Has anyone done that? Your journo buddies doing any real journalism?
Not that I've seen, Hugh. The only journo buddy of mine who does real journalism is Hugh Hewitt. And I got to be honest with you, that's why everybody should listen to your show every day.
John Ashcroft, we love you. Thank you. You got to go listen to the Ruthless
mutual.
Podcast. It's brutal and funny today.
As
Go
his
to
friends call
anywhere
him
where
Ashbrook.
iTunes are. Ruthless Podcast. Download it. Like and subscribe if you wish to opine and